All right, so I think, let me see. Got some sound here. Let's see if I got sound. Come on. Come on. Mic check. No sound still? Wait a minute. There we go. Let me see. There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, today is July the 14th, 2024. And the last video that I did on making the clock, I actually made the entire thing and I did not have any sound. My mic wasn't going. So, unfortunately, nobody heard anything and I just gave it all to you. So if you need to hear the audio for that, then be sure to put a comment or something in the chat and then we'll get to it. So the only thing I really wanted to do today was just kind of talk to you about, I haven't been coding and programming in a while. And so, you know, you kind of find this point, well, as I'm programming and as I'm working on the skill that's necessary, I'm just programming everything. I'm doing a little bit of everything, making objects, performing calculations, doing stream writing, stream reading, working with app storage, arrays, vectors, collections, dictionaries, global dictionaries, just working with everything so I can have a broad stroke of the brush when I need it. And so one of the things I did a couple months ago, before I kind of took a little bit of a break, was that I started doing this print to file thing. And so if any of you kind of tapped into that video, you'll see I was working like a print to file. So this is essentially what it would be. I would look for I print the symbol, the interval, the date, the time range, print all this stuff. So what I was looking for specifically was when you have a bar that ranges a certain level, then we want to go the bar before that and the bar before that, because I get in the trap of entering a position when the bar has moved, right? We want to enter on a breakout. We want to enter when the chart moves or the market moves in the direction that we want it to move in. Which, I mean, that's cool. That gives you confirmation, that kind of thing. But then there's also always going to be a pullback. So instead of getting in after the move happens, and you don't know if the move happens, if 4 ticks is the move happening. You don't know if 2 ticks is the move happening. You don't know if 3 ticks is the move, and then it retraces 1 tick, and then so you don't really know how long that move is going to be. Well, this is that move. So the range here is the move that we're just kind of looking at. So we're looking at this move, and so a bar prior to this move happening, we want to say, what were the optimal conditions? What were the conditions at that point that allowed for the move to go that far? So I'm plotting, I'm pulling on this information. So one of the things I've done recently is I bought a few books on statistics, and so just kind of looking at some ways to analyze the data, whether it be the mean, the median, looking at standard deviation, those kind of things. I have all this data, but then it's like, well, what do you do with it? So one of the things I've done in the past is I'd go here and I'd go like standard deviation, excuse me, standard deviation, and then we just click that whole range, and then that would give us standard deviation. And then so from the standard deviation, I'd say, all right, well, what's the from the actual mean, from the actual average, this standard deviation of 1.26, that's one standard deviation. If we take that one standard deviation, the mean of 1.26, excuse me, the mean of whatever it is, I don't know what the mean is, but if we take the mean and the top side of the mean, you know, adding adding 1.26, and then the bottom side subtracting 1.26, we'll get, you know, we'll get a range about the mean, a standard deviation above, standard deviation below. So I was doing that, and then I came up with some values, and then I put those values into a script. I'm gonna look at that script because I haven't looked at it in several weeks. But what I did today, because I had some calculations here that I think I deleted. You know what? I might be able to find it on my Google Drive, but I think I deleted that file that had all these other values. So I don't know exactly what I was looking for there. But what I did today was I looked at a scatter plot. So one, we take the value. So I think this one is ATR, the average true range, over, you know, versus the range of that actual bar that moved, right? It moved in the direction that we're looking for. We're looking for a bullish move. So the bullish move here was 4.25. I think that's points, 1.5 points. So we're taking the average true range on the x-axis and the range on the y-axis. Well, that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Okay, so here we got a 7.25. Okay. Yes. All right, so but at any rate, I have 3 charts here, so I took the values from 3 of these variables, if you will. So one of them is the ticks, one of them is the slope, and the other one is the average true range of 7 bars. And so after plotting that in a scatter plot, I'm just kind of looking, right? So I just want to, so I'm doing this visually. As I get more through the book on statistics, I'll probably come up with some other better ideas. But I'm looking to see where this cluster is, right? This is obviously a cluster here. These here look more like outliers, but this is obviously a cluster. So we're saying that the cluster happens between the average true range of 7 bars being somewhere between 1.2 and 1.7, something like that. So we do the same thing down here. We say, all right, well, where is the cluster at? And I think for this one, I think I did between -0.5 right here and -0.3. I think I took this as being the cluster. Obviously, there's somewhat of a clustering here too, but like I said, this is visually. And then I don't know what I use on this, on the ticks versus the V6. Now the ticks versus the V6, that is ticks on easy language. Ticks is actually your volume. V6 is the 6-period moving average of the volume. So it's just the average of 6 bars of volume. So essentially, we'll start with this one here. So ticks over the V6, that would essentially be, when we come over to the chart, that would essentially be how close is the actual volume compared to the 6-period moving average of the volume. Okay, so the actual volume are these down here, right? These down here, and then the 6-period moving average of the volume is this line here, right? So you see that here, you see that here the volume is significantly lower than the 6-period moving average of the volume. It's probably about half of it, and so it continues to draw the 6-period moving average down. But this is what we're looking for here, according to our plot, according to our statistics. We're saying that somewhere that we have a, more of a clustering, if you will, we have more of a likelihood for the for our target bar to be bullish and within a certain range, at least this long, if the relationship of the volume to the 6-period moving average of the volume is somewhere between 1.25 and 1.75, something like that. So I think I did it differently on my script. So I'll move this over. somewhere I got along there 0.8 to 0.93 when I was looking at it earlier. So how did I get 0.8 to 0.93? And that's the volume to the 6-period moving average of the volume, 0.8 to 0.93. Oh, that's right. Okay, this is the average true range versus the range. All right, this one here is the volume to the 6-period moving average of the volume. I looked at this one. I did 0.8 to 0.93. So I think I chose that because all this is kind of like a cluster, if you will. But then I'm just looking at this area here where we got a longer range bar. So this y-axis here is saying how many points did that bullish bar move. And so here we see that, all right, well, this is within the cluster, and we also have a range here where obviously that bullish bar got pretty long. And then here there's kind of a cluster here too. And then these look more like outliers, or it gets more random. So what I did was I just took, like I said, the information, just the visual analysis there of those. And then I also did I guess a y-intercept line, the trend line here, and it just shows you that generally speaking, as the ratio between the range, between the volume and the 6-period moving average of the volume, as it goes up, you tend to see that the bullish bar, the range of that bullish bar tends to go up. It's a positive correlation. Man, I haven't really used statistics since back in college. This is crazy. I mean, but this is it's cool. I like it. If it works, it works. All right. So what I did was I took that data and I came up with these 3 conditions. So one is the volume to the 6-period moving average of the volume. All right, and then this one is the linear regression of the slope. So it's pretty much the slope of the 9-period moving average, right? So you have a 9-period moving average that goes up and goes down, and the chart crosses and that kind of thing. Well, is at the point where a bullish bar shoots up, is the 9-period moving average actually going up and then you get a shoot up, or is it going down and then you get a shoot up, right? So that's the slope of the 9-period moving average, and we're looking over 3 bars, right? So that one tended to be between -0.5 and -0.3, and then the average true range. So this is of the 9-period moving average over 3 bars, and then the last one is the average true range. So the average true range of 7 bars. Now it's of 7 bars, and so we got this. So if all those things happen, if condition 1, 2, and 3, then we're going to plot a black bar. And so if you zoom out, you see that, like I said, just using these 3 bits of statistical analysis, if you will, on the data over the last, I don't know, this data was pulled ranging back from 6/3 to 7/12. So this is a little bit over a month's worth of analysis on the data. And so when you take that month's worth of analysis on the data, you get these 3 black dots. So this would say like enter here, right, for a bullish move, right? So, but you entered here, and that bullish move essentially that you're looking for is here. So a better entry would have been down there, right? All right, and then this one tells you to enter here, which I guess, like I said, the next bullish move is right here. So these don't really work out for this day. But when you look back through the rest of it, and again, that's the thing about trading, is never 100%, which my tiny brain says that things can be 100%. So I've got to get out of that. I've got to get out of that. But and then that's why I will over leverage a position, because I'm just like, well, I mean, there's a chance that this one can be 100%. And the fact that you say that there's a chance that this time can be 100% lets you know that you know, whatever the condition, the variables are, it's not 100%. But anyway, so we go back into the data. So those are those couple entries there. But when you go back into the data, that was the most recent day, 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3, 4, I don't know, you got a couple days ago. But then now when you get this far back, look at this one. Look at where this one tells you to get in at. I mean, these are a great entry for that kind of a move, right? And if you wanted to look at to see what the risks look like, so I mean, you could look at two different scenarios. You could look at from here to here as an exit, or you could look at, and then this would be a stop, or you could look at from here to here as your stop, and then here to here as the TP. So here is a change of 2 points, and it moved almost 10 points, so that's a 1 to 5. And then on this one, you're looking at 1.3 to 4, so that's just under 1 to 3. Okay, now we're just going to keep going back. I know there was another entry I saw right there, but this is an after hours, so this isn't anything that I would have picked, that I would use. All right, but so here, you know, obviously that entry there has relatively no drawdown, if you will. I hate to say that it has no risk. You know, every position that you enter should have a consideration for risk when you enter, but it had no drawdown. You would have got in at the very bottom. All right, but then here's the next entry here. Again, here to here would have been your drawdown. Don't know what your risk is. Don't know how you plan on trading anything, but you got either one of those as your TP, which both of those are well over 1 to 5. All right, so based on your drawdown, change of 1.1, and then this one is 12, so that's a 1 to 10, and then this one is 18. So, you know, 1 to 18, what? That's crazy. All right, so let's keep going. Back to the left, back to the left. And all right, so we have this one, and you know, again, I don't know where you're putting your risk and your reward, but and then some people, you know, they'll take the entry and then they'll go ahead and move their stop up once you get that first long bar, which again, technically the way that where we've requested this data. We've requested this data for a long bullish bar. We didn't request it for a large market structure, market shift. We're not looking at a reversal. We're not looking at any of that. We're just looking for a long bullish bar. We're looking for an entry before a long bullish bar. So technically, if you get that long bullish bar, and that is determined by a couple factors. One is what is the current average true range, right? So, you know, what are these bars? How long are these bars? These bars are smaller bars, and this is a longer bar. So that is your longer bar. So technically, you should be getting out right there. And then here, all right, so if you were to enter there, this is technically your long bullish bar that you were looking for. You know, with that risk there, that looks closer like a 1 to 1. I mean, I'm just going to visually call that a 1 to 1. That's 1.6. That's 1.2. So 1 to 1.5, something like that. A little less than that. All right, this one, this one technically you would have got in here at the end of the bar, so that's the close of the bar. Your drawdown would have been here, and obviously you need to at least go to the to the low of that opening bar. But I mean, and this one would have gave you a negative risk to reward, because you're risking 1 and you're making at best you're making 0.75. So, but again, you know, when you get into profit, you go ahead and move your stop up to break even, just to protect the downside. So, you know, I don't know how you trade it, but this is just a step. And then these two, but again, these are in pre-market, so these aren't anything that I'd be looking at anyway. But again, this is just kind of my acquisition phase to capture some of the data, so that I can then determine how to trade it. But if we were to go back, if we were to take a step back, and if you want to do something with technical analysis and you know, trading manually, instead of all these conditions being met all at one time, all you have to do is just go in and say, all right, well, if condition 1 is met, then let's plot that. Let's see what those look like. So if we're just looking specifically at the volume condition, and we're looking to see that the volume is somewhere between 80 and 90% of the 6-period moving average of the volume, then we'd say if condition 1, then plot, yeah, we'll just move that down. Then plot 1, load, copy, paste. All right, so if we're looking at just the blue, this is where these are the times when the volume is between 80 and 90% of the 6-period moving average of the volume. Okay, and as we're going up, you see what the entries look like there. And I mean, they're not bad. They capture some of the pullbacks. Here, it would have called for you to get in at the top, but other than that, it's not calling for you to get in at the very top a lot, other than here and here. Well, I mean, so but I think that's why it's important to have other filters or have other considerations. Like I said, you might change that to being a bearish bar, so we know that we are in somewhat of a pullback. Because even if you get in, if we were to get in here at the end of this long bullish bar, which I wouldn't suggest, because like I said, once the move has been made, the move has been made. So you need to either wait for a stall or some type of pullback, which this is the stall through here. And so through here, you might want to get in on one of these bars. Certainly not necessarily getting in at the top of a range, especially not if you are, you know, triple topping it, but one of these bearish pullbacks. So let's go back to the script and say, instead of if condition 1, then plot that, we're going to say if condition 1 and a bear and a bearish bar. All right, so that gets rid of all these bullish bars, that gets rid of all these bars to the upside, and now we're only getting in or considering getting in when we both are within a 80 to 90% value of the 6-period moving average of the volume, and it's a bearish bar, so it's a pullback. But it looks good going up, right? It looks good going up. But when you come down, and I don't know what happened at 12 o'clock. I don't know if 12 o'clock was I mean, it just kind of dropped there. I don't know if that was a news event or not. We can go look at it. But here, even as it's coming down, at least it doesn't tell you to get in on any one of these bars. It'd be crazy. But it does tell you to get in, or suggested coming in would be a possibility here, which twice you tried and you failed. This one was a great entry though. So again, use your stops, and you know, one of the things that I have to consider, at least that works for me, that it seemed to work better for me, is that I don't put all my eggs in one basket, and I consider that multiple trades for me is okay when they are based on a strategy. They're not just me trying to get in here and it's like, oh no, it didn't work, trying to get in here, oh no, it didn't work, trying to get in here, oh no, it didn't work, trying to get in here. That's been my MO. So yeah, but all these look great. I mean, these are perfect. entries. So anyway, I might try to use these entries tomorrow. But all right, so that's for the volume, and then let's go over to the linear regression of the slope. So we're gonna just kind of copy and paste this. If condition 2, then plot. Now we're plotting yellow. Okay, and now plotting the yellow, this is the linear regression of the slope. So we're looking at the range of the, we're looking at the slope of the 9-period moving average. And I think it said it needed to be slightly, going down slightly, somewhere between -0.3 and -0.5. And so when you do that, just for the 9-period moving average of the range, 9-period moving average, the slope there, it gives you this one and these, which, I mean, also look really great. But then it gives you those, which is okay for that pullback. It doesn't give you this one, doesn't give you this one. It does give you this one. I mean, these, again, not terrible. Doesn't give you these, which is, I'm happy that it doesn't give you these. These in here, like I say, at least it lets you know. I mean, it's an indication that you are in that sideways range. You don't know if it's, I mean, we're trying to figure out if it's distribution or if it's accumulation getting ready to go back up. But at this point, you don't really know. But I mean, at least it is signaling that there is a potential change. Okay, so the yellows, those work out pretty good too. This was a news bar. Yeah, you would have got murked in that one. Okay, all right, so then the third one is the average true range of 7 bars. And I think this one gave a lot more potential entries, which makes it less specific, but doesn't mean that it's invalid. It just means that it's another piece of the pie. So condition 3, and don't ask me why I picked these. I just picked these, and I mean they like I said, I think that everything, most things have some utility. It's just, you know, how you decide to use it. I mean, you can fasten a board with a hammer and a nail, but that same hammer and a nail can't really get you into your front door unless you put the nail inside the lock and then you bang it out. Well, again, it's how you use your tools and what you use them for. All right, so if condition 3, then we're going to use this as plot 3, and then that'll be green. Copy, paste, colon, that. All right, so then the greens come in here. Like I said, obviously there's a lot more greens just because it's less specific. Greens are just the greens here for average true range. We're just talking about the average true range. But you see, like here, it didn't call on you getting into these longer bars here. So green isn't as specific, so it's probably not as useful with these values. Now let's go back to the data and see why we chose. You know what? I'm not even gonna look at it, but I think it was between 1.25 and 1.75. All right, so if we go back to the average true range here, yeah, I mean, you're somewhere between 1.0 and 1.9. I mean, that's a pretty big cluster there, 1.0 and 1.9. Yeah, 1.25 and 1.75. So, I mean, like I said, all these are just kind of really clustered, so I wouldn't know how to do anything different with that. And again, I'm just breaking the ground with all this statistics work, so I'm sure I'll come up with other analysis techniques that makes it a little bit more valuable. I'm curious what it would look like if, because I see like this little bit of clustering here, this over top of this general, just this common area. So if we went here, if we went between, that's saying 2.96 and that's saying 2.5. All right, hang on. Okay. All right, yeah, we. You know. All right. All right. So yeah, if we did something between 2.96 and 2.5, how would that change it? That's also going to change our black dots from before too, though. 2 point what? Okay, that's what I thought. And we'll go 2.96. Okay, so that changes our black dots. We were green on that. All right, so that gives us those green dots. Those green dots. I still don't feel like that's a great filter. When we go back out looking for those black dots that we had before, the black dots disappeared here because the green is not valid there. So let's see if we get the yellow, blue, and whatever dots out of the picture. Let's see what where the black dots are now. All right, so remember earlier we had those black dots that show right here on this most recent day. Yeah, they showed up right around here or something like that. They didn't show up on this time since we made that adjustment. And let's see if those other ones show up. There's one that shows up. I'm not sure if that one showed up before. Obviously, some showed up. One showed up right here because we did the analysis on the risk to reward. And those that were in there, yeah, so none of those are showing up. So, yeah, that wasn't a good change in the filter. I think it was 1.25, 1.75. All right. Yeah, so now they show back up there. And I think that's it. I think that's all I'm gonna go over right now. And like I said, the next piece would be to so this is essentially what I did. So if you have your data, and you might get your data several ways. I'll show you, just real quick how I put my data together. But however you get your data, you have one set of data which is going to be x-axis, one set of data which is going to be your y-axis. It should be that they have some type of relationship, and so you're trying to determine what that relationship is. So you're looking at one piece of data that should be relevant to the other piece of data in some way. You don't know if it's random, if it's a bell curve, if it's direct correlation, if it's so you want to have that one piece of data which is the x-axis that is what you think will have an effect on the y-axis. So we're taking, what I'm doing is just copying this, copy, and then paste. And then so I'm going up here and I'm going to chart design. We're going to select the data. So for edit here, we already have the y-axis data, which is the range, which is the effect, and the cause right here is the ATR, the average true range of 7. So let's go, and instead we're going to use the range versus the range. No, the body versus. Let's use the body versus the range, right? So this is So this is saying the size of the body as a percentage of the total range of that bar, right? So when you get into, just before a long move, do you tend to have full bars, or do you tend to have long wicks on the side of bars, or do you tend to have, small wick, so that's what we're looking at there. So we're gonna just select that data there, hit enter, hit OK. And this is what I love about having, I don't really say a routine, having some type of program, a protocol, an algorithm that allows you to just kind of plug and play and consistently move through your algorithm, your routine. So this is going to be the body over range. All right, and so here I'm not really seeing anything. I'm not really seeing any clusters. I'm not seeing any clusters. I mean, this here looks a little bit strange. I think this is this must be at 0.5. Yeah, 0.5. This looks a little strange. If I look at all this data, to me, it looks like this is curving up. This line is curving up. This line is curving up. This line is curving up. So it almost looks like an exponential type of relationship between the ratio of the body to range versus the bullish bar, which just says that the less wicks that you have on your bar, the more likely you're going to have a longer bullish bar to follow. That's what that says to me. And it's an exponential relationship. So as you start, so it's not incremental, it's not a, kind of a point to point. It's a for every inkling of smaller ticks, every inkling of smaller wicks that you have means it is more likely that you're going to have a larger move. So again, like when you're looking at volatility leads to volatility, but that calmness that you get even through a and I don't want to use the word volatility here, but through a consolidation range, when the volatility has kind of settled out, but it's just kind of moving, it's just kind of waiting, but then you're getting those full bars, full range, full range, full range. You're not getting those wicks. So yeah, okay, I like that. That's good to see. That is really good to see. So, but when you get to that full bar, where there's no wicks, that bullish range drops back down. The range of that candle afterwards drops back down lower. So, like I said, it's an exponential relationship as it goes up, as you get into this 60 and 90%, or maybe that's what we're looking for. Maybe we're looking between this 65 to 95% range, right? And then we're going to leave out that full bar. We don't want that. We don't want that shaved. What do they call it? Maribozu bar. We don't want that bar. We want the bars that's kind of close. So I'm just curious. We're just going to do a look at the body versus the range from like 65 to 95%. Yeah. I'm kind of a nerd. I'm kind of a nerd. All right. So we're going to say condition 4 equals between, and this is a function that I made, what is between the body versus the range is between point, let's say 0.65 of what? Body to range. Yeah, 0.65. 0.65 to 0.95. Okay, and then I need to do a condition 4. This is great. This is great. This is great. All right. If con 4, then plot 5. I think. Yeah. Got to plot 4. Plot 5. We're gonna say load that, and then we'll make it. I know there's an Alice blue, turquoise, green, yellow. They don't. Orange isn't like a standard color. Let's just go with another red one, and then we'll this red, blue, yellow, green. Oh, we don't have red. All right, so we're gonna do that. All right, and then we get this. We get to say attempt to divide by 0. That's because somewhere along the way in here, one of these ranges or some range is 0, which just means that there's, you know, it's just pretty much a boop. It doesn't go from one tick to the next. So we need to say condition 4. And I think there's a couple ways to do this. Like one is if and only if. Let me see, because I never use that. But let me see if I can use that. If and only if. This is the test. No, the test is going to be range is greater than 0. Then this is going to be the value. Otherwise, the value is going to be 0. So, if and only if the range is greater than 0. Because what if and only if is going to do is going to return a... Okay, so we'll do this. If and only if range is greater than 0, then we're going to return 1. Otherwise, we're going to return 0. So if and only if that equals 1, then... I don't think I'm doing this right. Let me see. Then... what was I even doing between body over range, between 0.65 and 0.95? That should be true or false. I think that's it. Yeah, so condition 4, if and only if put and. Okay, so if and only if range is greater than 0, then that return a 1. So if that equals 1 and body of range, that okay, cool, it worked. So, well, for right now. Okay, so we get all these red dots. So, yeah, that's not very helpful. Body of the range is between 0.65 and 0.75. I mean, we're just saying that happens a lot. Right? But, like I said, to then overlay that with one of these other ones. So we'll do like, instead of all these being true and equaling a potential entry, a black, then we're just going to take off the red. So it doesn't show up everywhere. But then we're going to say, so if condition and condition 4. So we want condition 4, so we definitely want to look at that range because it looks like it goes kind of exponential in that specific area. But then I think con 1 looked pretty good. So con 1 and con 4, let's see what those two look like together. I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm not interested in all this low liquidity here during pre-market hours or something like that. I'm not interested in any of that, so I'm just kind of scrolling pretty fast through that. One of the things I typically do, though, is I just say that if Eric's market, all right, and then that takes out the pre-market stuff. But yeah, I'm not mad at this at all. This is something I'm pretty interested in. Okay, well, if we take it one step further, and so not only add the condition 1 for the volume versus the 6-period moving average of the volume and the body versus range, but then let's also include that linear regression of the slope because that one seemed to be a little bit more specific than the average true range. So we're going to add condition 2. All right. So once we add condition 2, we get that. That looks great. We get this. That looks great. We get edit. Get that. That is definitely a pullback. Not a lot of meat on that potato though. But you do get in at the very bottom, very little drawdown before you, well, I mean, there's that drawdown. That even there would have been a 1.46 to a 5, so that's 1 to 3. Again, the question is, where's your exit? All right, here you would obviously been getting in at the close of the bar here, so you need to at least have the range of that bar as your stop loss. So that's that, and take profit up there. That looks closer to a 1 to 1 or a 1 to 1.5. So that's a net change of 2. And 2.5 there, so yeah, 1 to 1.5. Okay, and then that one is turkey garbage. All right, but that is interesting to note. The relationship between the body and the range has a somewhat of an exponential, or at least when you get over 0.65%, it's somewhat of an exponential move. And here for the trend line, we have the trend line set up as a, I'm pretty sure it's a linear trend line. Let's see, it's a linear trend line. So if we did it, if we set it up as an exponential, well, really that's not showing much of a curve. So somewhere along the way, even though visually that looks like that's got more of an exponential relationship, the mathematics of it says, yeah, but not really. Oh, logarithmic. No, it doesn't even like logarithmic at all. Let's see. What did I get rid of it? Trend line. Yeah. As soon as I hit logarithmic, it just disappeared. So I don't know what that means. Don't know what that means. It's already on. There it is. How did it disappear? Trend line 1. There we go. Linear. And again, when I put it to logarithmic, it disappeared. Disappeared again. Yeah, so there must not be maybe there's not a logarithmic relationship, or the logarithmic relationship is causing some type of error, a divide by 0 error or something like that. So we're just going to leave that alone. We're going to let it be happy, and let it be happy with the linear relationship, even though that doesn't seem like it feels like there's a second order relationship. I think like a linear relationship is like a one-to-one. X-axis causes a y-axis type thing, and then you have those other like poly relationships to second and third orders, which is where you have your you see here like polynomial order to the second order, that kind of thing. So yeah, but man, this was a good one. This was a good one. Obviously, I'm gonna play around with this a lot later, but I think 2 needs to be. Now I'm actually gonna have to look back through the video and see which one I felt like was very effective, because there was one. I mean, these look pretty good actually. Yeah, I'm gonna rock with this. I need to at least make myself a note. I'm just gonna copy this. I think it was like 06, 02, something like that. 24. And then we're gonna do that and that, and paste that in there. Okay, and then that way I can just come back to it and plot that same data back into the chart, or I can use like a case switch and turn that on instead of having to figure out what I did. So it's con 1, con 2, and con 4. All right, guys, I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.